Gary Gannon.
I think more than anything else, it's the hypocrisy that grates most. And the Taoiseach used the phrase again yesterday, which Fine Gael used repeatedly, the party of law and order. I mean, it's almost Orwellian at this point, where Fine Gael continues to refer to themselves by those terms, when over 12 years with holding the Ministry of Justice, we've seen continued deterioration and increasing dysfunction amongst in terms of how our streets are policed and how our Garda stations are resourced. And we all experience that as public reps in these constituencies almost on a weekly basis. I have stations in Cabaret which have to give their only Garda station, or only Garda car over to Finglas, for example. I have continuously raised in this chamber, and not just during the summer when it peaked in terms of attention, the issue of Dublin city centre and how that's policed. And yet here we are today. However, to truly be a party of law and order, you would first have to treat the people we tasked with enforcing it with respect, with decency in terms of pay and conditions, and that very clearly isn't the case. And Garda rank and file are demonstrating this action in a number of different ways, no less the vote, which has already been discussed. But this year alone, we've had 96 members of the Garda Síochána resign. If you compare that to 2016, the number was 24. As they have left, and I've talked to a number of friends who have left the Garda Síochána, I've also watched the Prime Time documentary, they've highlighted the dysfunction they were asked in terms of how they were asked to serve their job, a lack of civilianisation, which is a political issue, an absence of resources in terms of actually the computers, the internets they're asked to work on, the internet streams they're asked to work on, absolutely limited them in terms of how they're doing their job. And that's before we even get to the fact that in the increasing cost of living crisis, they can't afford to pay the rent, pay for childcare. We've made Garda Síochána in this country similar to the teaching profession, similar to we've broken the social contract and we're paying the price on the streets. I want to refer to Dublin city centre. During the summer, there was national attention was placed in Dublin city centre because of high volumes of crime and frequency of attacks on people. There was three responses to that. Firstly, a photo op and a press release that spoke of armed Gardaí and dogs on the streets. That was so public. That was the photo op for the sake of photo op. There shouldn't be armed Gardaí or dogs on the street. Nobody wanted that. We just wanted a basic policing presence. There was 10 million in funding that was supposed to be used to fund Garda overtime. I mean, clearly that's got to become a joke now, which is not going to happen. It was also going to run out in Christmas, which we inevitably would have torn back. And then there was this, a 52-page document that talked about policing, a future policing plan for the inner city. It's effectively a stream of conscience. There's absolutely no resourcing in it. All of the action points are highlighted with like a lack of resources, lack of funding, lack of interest. I mean, it's a joke. What we actually need in this country, in our cities, is an effective continued policing presence. To do that, we need to demonstrate much more leadership than what has been seen to this point. Go to Carla.